Rizal's connection with the Dominicans began even before when he was born. The Dominicans purchased the Calamba estate south of Binian from a Spanish layman and opened it to the tenants. As a landowner, the Dominican used earnings from their properties to support educational institutions. Rizal's Chinese grandfather was befriended by the Dominicans.
Connection with the land. Rizal's connection with the Dominicans began even before he was born. During the late 18th century, after his conversion to the Christian faith, Domingo Lanco, Rizal's Chinese great-grandfather, was befriended by the Dominicans who sent him to Binyan, where he helped construct the irrigation canals in the estate managed by the order. In 1833, the Dominicans purchased the Calamba estate south of Binyan from a Spanish layman and opened it to tenants. The estate formerly belonged to the Jesuit order, which was confiscated by the colonial government following its expulsion from the island in 1768. A Spaniard then acquired it before it was bought by the Dominicans. As the landowners and Dominicans used earnings from their properties to support educational institutions such as University of Santo Tomas, the Colegio de San Juan de Letran, orphanage, and their missions in the Philippines and abroad, such as in China. Rizal's, Rizal's father, Don Francisco, moved to Calamba from Binyan. He became a primary tenant in the Calamba estate. He then leased and land he rented to other tenants who did most of the farming. He must have been productive and gained the favor of Dominicans because he was able to lease more land south of the town in a Pansol area with no obligation to pay for the first 5 years, since Don Mercado and his tenants were the ones doing the clearing. These lands were very fertile and had access to irrigation because of the presence of underground streams. They were converted by the other farmer families, which owns Don Mercado's clothed underground streams with the administrations of the state. In time, farmlands became very productive, results family to defray his expenses as a student at the Ateneo, the University of Santo Tomas, and later he studied and finished.
Rizal earliest encountered Dominicans. When Rizal was a small child in Calamba, he helped around the town and moved around using a pony and accompanied by a dog named Usman. Rizal's most likely first encounter with the university began in 1872 when he was told that there was a public abyss or announcement which was assigned by Don Antonio Estrada, the University Secretary General, informing that students wishing to take up secondary education in Manila should go to Manila and take entrance examinations. It was Rizal's first trip to Manila. Marciano brought him a document signed by their father declaring that on behalf of Jose, what course has been chosen for him to take, what school Rizal age and his attended residence in Manila, and his baptismal certificate. Rizal took his qualifying examination at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran. Rizal was given a choice to take up his secondary education at Dominican run Colegio de San Juan de Letran or at Ateneo de Manila, which was managed by the Jesuits. Rizal often to enter Ateneo, even as an Ateneo student, Rizal could not help avoiding the influence of the Dominicans. Rizal certainly encountered the Dominicans face to face. One can only imagine how young boys like Rizal reacted under the inquisitive eyes of the Dominicans inspectors. Perhaps his reflected in El Turismo which Rizal was to write around 19 years later, wherein two Dominicans professors questions the character Basilio, who was depicted by Rizal as a formerly trans student. Rizal family hired the service two lawyers, Don Francisco de Marciada and Don Manuel P. When Rizal finished his education at Ateneo, he received his bachelor and artist diploma. After having passed his final examination on March 14, 1878, Rizal went to the University of San Tomas to obtain his coveted diploma, which carried the distinctions of sobresaliente, which was issued on March 20 that year.
The Tomasian Rizal. By the time Rizal enrolled at the University of Santo Tomas, he was at the crossroads of his life, and like many students, he was unsure what course to take. His mother objected to his getting higher education after finishing his studies at the Ateneo. She wanted him to help the family in its business. She feared that with additional knowledge, the Spanish authorities might cut off Jose's head. She blamed the fate of the Filipino intellectuals to the level of educations they received, which they used to challenge Spanish rule in the island. A family council was held, and Don Francisco and Pasiano were able to prevail over Doña Teodora's objection. Rizal viewed his various options at the university. He would have taken up law, which his father preferred. He also loved the art and was inclined towards it. He would have loved an education in literature. Rizal tried to seek guidance from the priest at the Ateneo, especially its rector, Father Pablo Ramon, for guidance, but since he was in Mindanao, he was left to decide for himself. Other Atenean professors suggested that they take up priesthood or farming. For his first term, in the school year of 1877 to 1878, Rizal studied at the philosophy program, taking up cosmology, metaphysics, theodicy, and the history of philosophy. This was a preparatory course towards theology and law studies. In the following term, in 1878 to 1879, Jose decided to shift to medicine. His decision was prompted by his desire to cure his mother's failing eyesight. There were other more plausible reasons why Rizal decided to take the medicine. On the year of Rizal's entry to the university in 1877, the first graduate of the course were produced. The university authorities were petitioning the government to give priority to local graduates over physicians from the peninsula for the positions in the health department.
Estrada's announcement was dated May 14, 1872. The examination dates were set from June 1 to June 15, 1872. It stated that the examination be held either at the University of Santo Tomas or the Colegio de San Juan de Letran. Accompanied by his brother Pasiano, Rizal left for Manila on June 10, 1872. It was Rizal's first trip to Manila. Pasiano brought with him a document signed by their father, declaring that on behalf of Jose, that course has been chosen for him to take. The school, Rizal's age, and his intended residence in Manila, and his baptismal certificate. Rizal took his qualifying examinations at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran. Rizal was given a choice where to take his secondary education at the Dominican Colegio de San Juan de Letran or at the Ateneo de Manila, which was managed by the Jesuits. Rizal to enter Ateneo. His decision was a personal one, which the choice of his parents. For the next 10 years, 1872 to 1882, would be a Manila student. This was that called himself his memoirs. Of these years, 5 were spent at Ateneo, at the remaining year at the University of Santo Tomas. Even as Ateneo student, Rizal could not help avoiding the influence of the Dominicans. From the time to time, instructions, notice, and regulations coming from the university frequently arrived at the Ateneo. Since the rector of the University of Santo Tomas was the ex-official head of the secondary higher education in the islands, the Dominicans in their habits can be seen talking to all grounds of Ateneo. They were the supervised instructions in the visits and decisions. Every year, the rector of the university sends examinations to the Ateneo conduct or supervise final examinations. Rizal certainly encountered the Dominicans face to face. There were Fathers Manuel Puebla and Father Jose Maria Garcia in March 1873, while Father Puebla and Bernardino Rosalilda in March 1874. Father Julian Revelia and Father Escribano in March 1875, while Father Revelia and Father Marcos Lennox in 1876, and last, Father Santiago Paya and Father Larix in 1877.
Hello, good day. I am Jerome Sartel, and this is the continuation of the Jose Rizal life and the connection of Dominican. Then my topic is, this is the when Rizal shifted to medicine to his in his course by June of 1878. Rizal definitely resolved to take up medicine. His visit to his mother for Christmas of 1877 must have influenced his decision. His mother could not recognize him at first glance, as she had lost most her sight. Nabutay ang mama. And then, when Rizal had shifted to medicine, all prospective students were required to take a preparatory course called Curso de Ampliación, which consisted of an advanced course in physics, chemistry, and natural history. This course, which completed the studies taken up in the last years of secondary education, should be taken before entering first year of medical studies. Rizal, however, was able to take the preparatory course of medicine and first year of medicine at the same time in 1878 to 1879. This practice was anomalous and forbidden by law, because this is only convincing circumstances the Governor General of the Philippines that could make an exception only after consultation with the rector of the university. The Governor General disapproved some requests by students trying to enroll simultaneously in the ampliation and first year medicine at the same time. Aside from Rizal, there are 3 other students were given the privilege to take up the Curso de Ampliación with first year medicine. So this was for Agustin Monasterio, Carlos Gatmetian, and Justo Panis. And that's all for my topic. Thank you.